Gatekeeping. What is gatekeeping? What is meant by gatekeeping in media theory? Gatekeeping is a framework that explains how information and content are filtered, how they are controlled, how they are edited, disseminated to the audience through various media channels. So this gatekeeping theory was coined by the sociologist Levin, the idea that media professionals act as gatekeepers who control the flow of information by selecting and filtering the content based on the specific criteria. So from the previous session that we discussed in the case of agenda setting, the gatekeeping is a continuation of formation and the finalization of a news output that a media company produces for the audience. So media functions as a gatekeeper means media have the capacity to filter, to edit, and to disseminate the news that it chooses, that it wants to publish. So gatekeeping involves a series of processes through which information passes before reaching the audience, like agenda setting. In the case of agenda setting, the news company or the news producers decides which topics have to be published, which news have to be released into the audience. They have the capacity to seize, to hide, or to control, to limit the dissemination of some special news values, some news items. Then they have the capacity for framing how to disseminate this news. The same news content, a same news idea is being disseminated in various news platforms, in various styles, in various tones, in various with various affiliations. It is based upon their political, for example, or some other vested interests. Another elements that involves in this gatekeeping is priming. The more you give news value for a particular information, the more important, the more recognition that you give for a particular information, the more it would strike the mind and the understanding or the interpretation capacity of its readers or its audience. That is happening in the priming of video in the theory of gatekeeping. So in the realm of journalism, gatekeeping theory sheds light on editorial decision making, newsroom dynamics, and media bias. Take the case of advertising and public relations. So gatekeeping theory informs strategic communication practices. So the advertisers and the PR agents, PR workers, practitioners, they act as gatekeepers. Which news, which information have to be published from an organization? How a product have to be branded among the audience? All of them have been filtered. All of them have been scrutinized. All of them have been watched and then disseminated to the public. So in a digital age, the social media itself acts as a gatekeeper. For example, the social medias, it uses the user-generated content through which the social media companies act as a gatekeepers through content moderation processes, algorithm curation, and platform design features. So understanding all these are important in a world which is rich with various forms of social media platforms. So, as I said in the earlier section of this discussion, we cannot see any type of media, we cannot see any type of social media platforms as innocent, as attractive as it looks. So, this is about the gatekeeping theory. Agenda setting theory. So we have been discussing various kinds of theories in this unit. So what is agenda setting theory? It explains how media can significantly influence public's perception. It's a continuation of what we discussed in gatekeeping. Meaning, it has the power, the media has the power on interpreting the perception of the people, what issues are important and what are not important. So the core idea is that by giving more attention and prominence to the certain topics and stories, media shapes what the public considers as the most salient issues of the day. So a media has the capacity, as the power on what makes a burning topic or a burning issue, and what is an unimportant or irrelevant topic. So the concept originated in 1920s when Walt Lippmann argued that media creates the pictures of events in people's minds. So media creates the pictures in people's minds means media decides what people should think about, what people should understand, what people should digest about the world that they live in. So media has the power to influence the politics, media has the power to influence the public, media has the power to influence any reality that has been happening around. That is the power of media. So in the agenda setting, there is a reality, and also there is a version of media reality. From the version of media reality, the public assimilates the public perception of reality. That is the public agenda. So what is happening in the reality would not be, and there is no chance, it cannot be the exact version of what media considered as reality, which influences the audience mind to finalize or to perceptualize as the reality. Now coming to the concept polysemy, it means that there is a coexistence of many possible meanings for a word, for a phrase, which is a central concept in the media theory. It challenges the notion of a fixed or a singular interpretation of a media content, which means that a media content does not carry a single fixed concrete meaning or interpretation, whereas at that same time, in contrast, it carries diverse possibilities, diverse forms of meaning, and diverse chances of interpreting it in different ways. Stuart Hall's encoding and decoding model, which was introduced in 1973, it provides a useful framework for understanding the polysemy in media theory. He proposes 3 primary ways in which audience can decode the message: the preferred reading, the negotiated reading, and the oppositional reading. The preferred or dominant reading means the audience, the media, whatever the media releases, whatever the media produces, the audience believes that is reality. It is the reality. They have no dominance. The audience have no dominance, no hand, no active participation in deciding their version. Another category is the negotiated reading. The audience understands what is being disseminated through the media. Then they filter out, they interpret, they create their own version of reality by imbibing, by the influence of their own versions of beliefs, lifestyle, cultural, ideological affiliations. The third form of model is oppositional reading. The media releases one form of a news, whereas the audience rejects the contents, rejects the idea, and they envisage, they create their own version of the news information or media information. So these are the three models that have been importantly discussed in the section polysemy. So meaning you have different versions of interpretations in a single media news item. Now coming to the media audience, who are the most important parts or the most important element or section in media theory, because without audience, a media production company or a media producer or a media item is irrelevant, is nothing. So when it comes to audience, the term audience comes from the Latin word audio, which means to hear, to disseminate, to understand, to interpret, are all being meant by the term audience. What are some of the characteristics of media audiences when it comes to the media theory? The number of audience, the anonymity of the audience, the heterogeneity of the audience, the geography, time, medium and content, expectation, longevity, all of these characteristics of audiences influences the production of a news value item. Now coming to the types of audiences, there are different types of audiences based upon the several factors. One is a group audience, another one is a mass audience. So in the group audience, a group follow a similar type of, for example, culture, similar type of, the same type of belief, same type of organization. Whereas in the public audience or the mass audience, it consumes media content broadly distributed to public. So we don't have the idea about the ideology of the audience, the particular characteristics of the audience, or the cultural background of the audience. Another types of audience is local, national, and transnational audience. So you have to produce the news value items based upon the taste of a locality, people of a particular locality, a particular nation, or a particular transnational community. So all of them influences the news value item to be revealed, to be published. Public and private sphere. So the public sphere audience engage with media in communal setting like cinemas, whereas the private sphere, you watch a movie or you watch a web series of your favorites in your private room, which is a private sphere. So these are the classifications of audience and the news content or the media content can be produced according to the taste, according to the privilege, according to the factors that how audience are being classified. Now, there are three other main ways to define the relationship between a sender. The sender means the media producer and the audience. Audience as a target. When audience become a target, they don't have an active participation in the production of a news value item. They just sit, listen, and understand what is being disseminated to the media channel. The another category is audience as participant, in which the audience participate and they have kind of live interaction with the participants in the media platform, or with the anchors, with the performers in the news platforms. For example, take the case of live TV shows with the audience interaction. The another category is audience as spectator. In this framework, audience primary role is to observe and to be entertained without active engagement. The sports, events, and reality TV shows often fall into this category of audience as spectator. The next one, the unit discusses some three key theories related to how audience interact with media. The first one is bullet theory. Bullet theory means this theory suggests that the media messages are directly injected into the passive audience, influencing them uniformly, whereas the audience has no special role except receiving what is being heard from the media, or what is being received from the media. Individual difference theory. This theory posits that the individual characteristics influence how people interpret media messages. So the media that is being disseminated in a single hall, which is being packed by a 50 audience. So each 50 audience accepts the news in each 50 types, or each 50 interpretations, each 50 meanings. Meaning the individuals have the capacity to influence how to accept the media content. The third category is social category theory. It suggests that the people within the specific social categories, like people who comes from the same age or the same community or the same religion or the same culture, they interpret messages in a similar tone. So these are some of the key theories related to the acceptance of media interaction of the audience with the media communities. So that's all about these units. Number 1, media from the block media theory. Thank you all.